He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Kia ora whānau, just a heads up before we get into it. This episode of Orators Anonymous contains mature themes and some spicy language, so listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Orators Anonymous, a new Māori Pacifica queer-coded podcast brought to you by Wheke Fortress Gallery, streamed weekly on Twitch channel Rev TV, hosted by Coco, Manu and Mush. The theme this week, Multi-Motu mechanics. The girls talk semantic drift, oceanic pattern recognition, and shared philosophies across land, time and culture. Tonight, our thematic kaupapa is Multi-Motu mechanics. So we're going to explore and share some of our fave Pan-Pacific ideologies, ways in which our ancient cultures cosmically resemble and weave into each other, and the poetic pattern recognition we experience being oceanic in the South Pacific.
Oceanic.
Before we begin, Mush with a little bit of a disclaimer.
Disclaimer. All right, here we go. The views and opinions expressed during this live stream are the views of Orators Anonymous alone and do not represent any affiliated organization. Content and critique is presented for entertainment and informational purposes only.
And with a second kind of auntie-style disclaimer, we're not cultural authorities.
No. Absolutely not.
Don't get grumpy, don't get mad. He rereke ngā tangata, okay? Interpretations are offered in good faith and should not be taken as trying to be that person, that auntie, okay? For this episode, I just want to say that Orators Anonymous is a podcast for our Māori Pacifica queer fam in Aotearoa, Indigenous misfits across the Pacific and around the world. I think we've been asked to just introduce ourselves, tell people a little bit about ourselves, and I'll start with you, Manu. Ko wai koe.
Ko wai o. Malolele ko hokuhinga ko manuha apai vai tangi tau. O ko lele mai me paki moita I la paha. Api ko na moli maufanga mo tō whakaamu o tō lau. Malo telele ko tō katoa, ko tōku hingoa, ko manuha apai vai tangi tau, ko paki mo tō I la paha, api ko na moli maufanga, mo tō whakaamu o tō lau takutupuanga. Kana aku tupu hake I heni, Tamaki Makoto, Aotearoa.
Period.
It was Tongan Language Week this past week. And
stunning reo.
And so I felt the need to introduce myself in the Tongue. Fun fact, Tonga, prior to the arrival of the peoples, of the Pa people, there were 3 distinct dialects in Tongan. One of them have gone extinct. It was... there was 2 distinct dialects in the Niua Islands, Niua Tapu Tapu and Niua Fo'o. And so the second introduction that I did was in the Niua Fo'o dialect. The theme of Tongan Language Week is koe e tau lea, koe whe unu mahu inga ia ki he mo ui ai tonga. Our language is a vital strand of our Tongan culture. And in saying that, speak the dialects. Speak all of them. And to all of the oldies who I know are not watching this, I know that you guys were mocking those newer people who came with all their days and their lenes and their gagos. Nasty.
I love that you got the range, girl. Sounded beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
I'm glad. Outside of that, Virgo sun, Cancer rising, Pisces moon. Currently going through Saturn and Aries transit. Very, very rough. Never been poorer, never been more directionless. I love it. Ngā mihi nui e te whānau.
Oh, beautiful. Yep, she's in her Saturn return. And I'm a stick beside her. I'm a stick beside her.
You stood beside me. You stood All of the sudden return girlies.
Yeah, mate.
So
without our hand.
grateful. So grateful.
You have seen us through.
Seen us through.
Mashi, ko wai koe.
Okay. I'm going to actually pull up my introduction I wrote for my Samoan language class last year.
Period.
Yeah, period. We're gonna. Ma lo le suifua, ma le upe ngata whai langi, mama. O lo uitina, o lau awhionga fui mono whetau i Iosefo. E sau mai le Salani, ma Lalomanu, ma Lano, ma Apulima o Samoa. O lo utama o Whetelenga Vaipo, Sani Iosefo. E sau mai le Fa'ala, Balauli, ma Manono, o Samoa, ma Alofi, ma Liku, o Niue, e nofu I Manurewa. Rewa hard. Life's hard, but Rewa's harder. O lo'o ingoa o Mush. あとさ、日本語で、自分の名前は、Mush と言います。なんかさ、俺のなんか本当の名前は、ジョシュアけど、なんか子供の時に、なんか電話を、なんか出して、ムシムシと言って、それで、なんかムシというのニックネームを、自分のなんか家族を作りましたね。作ってくれた。But yeah, that is my introduction.
すごいですよ。
ありがとうね。
そうね。
かっこいい。あなたはかっこいいですよ。
What interesting about kind of going back to kind of, I guess, Hatson or, yeah, kind of where you're from. In my Japanese, I learned Nagoya Ben because I stayed in Nagoya. And so a lot of our words are a bit different. For example, instead of saying like ikimasu or iku, we'll say like ikia. Like it's really, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was with this Samoan introduction, I also, instead of saying malelangi mama, I said upe ngata fa'ilangi, which is the web in the sky, which describes the internet. And so it's very much kind of greetings to you all in this web in the sky called the internet that we're all connected
Beautiful.
to.
That's the girl.
Yeah.
And your astrological profile for the girls?
And my astrological profile
Top
for
three.
the girls. Cancer sun. Gemini moon. Cancer rising.
Period.
Yeah. Just came out of my Saturn return, but we do go back next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Gemini stellium in the 12th house, which...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a stick beside you. Tēnā rā tātou, ko Jessica tōku ingoa mea kaukau rānei. Ko tani whawhakarongoa rua, te maunga, ko utukura te awa, ko mokunui rangi, te marae, ko Ngāpuhi, te iwi, ko te pōpoto, te hapu, ki te taha o tōku pāpā, no Hamoa me Tiamani hoki. And yeah, lalo mano, LA girls.
LA girls.
But yeah, Capricorn, Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon. So I have Aquarius stellium in my first house. My Venus is in Aquarius too. And I got a Virgo stellium in my 8th house. So, yeah, I'm busy, but I'm organised with it. Malo. Thank you so much. It's lovely to meet y'all. Thank you for coming back and talking to us. The Week in Review. This is where we talk about any emotional weather, any headlines that we've been going through. Manu?
Yeah, let's get into it. I mean, I was saying that this week has been pretty gnarly in the sense that, like, there's been an ambience of, like, how shall I say, self flagellation, maybe is the best way to say it, to not get maybe modded the hell out of this world.
It's kind of like death rattles of capitalism, but also winter. It's kind of like a potent cocktail of a little bit fatigue and exhaustion.
Yeah, like an overextended dark night of the soul. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Whiro.
Fetal.
Whiro was last night in the Maramataka. Whiro is the new moon that marks the start of the new lunar month. And if I ever do cry, because you heard my top 3, if I ever am a tangi weto, it is always going to be on whiro. So I had a little bit of in my bag a little bit, but also good in my bag, because this is pretty cool, what's happening. So it's like a bit of a cocktail, and I just want to mihi this calendar. Our kind of endorsement potential here. This is the Maramataka calendar by Orewa Karina Lockyer and Dr. Trish Tupou. They created a really awesome Maramataka calendar with Whike Fortress that we released this matariki. Orewa is a Māori astronomer at Stardome, does amazing work. And Trish is the doctor. Trish Tupou, our doctor friend, so we make sure to say that as much as we can, is our resident Tongan princess. And their cross-cultural collab is very fitting for our ep tonight, which is Multi-Motu mechanics. I would like to ask Manu, as I often do, to read me something. We always make requests. Manu, if you could please read one of my and your favourite poems, Waka 99 by Robert Sullivan, who I believe a couple of days ago was named
Poet Laureate.
The National Poet Laureate.
After Chris C. Congratulations, baby Joe.
Yep, kai tahu ngā puhi icon. And this poem,
Yeah.
deadly.
Deadly, great piece of work. Robert, I hope you remember me from when I read you that really bad poem when I was like 17. Anyways, here we go. Waka 19.
No one could forget you, babe. No one could forget you.
It was really cringe, by the way, the poem, because the poem, he gave me a prize for it because he was like, I ended the poem being like, it was
Pono.
Pono.
Tikato.
Yeah, it was intense. It was really going through it, fam. Anyways. Waka 99 by Robert Sullivan, read by yours truly. If Waka could be resurrected, they wouldn't just come out from museum doors, smashing glass cases, revolving and sliding doors on their exit. They wouldn't just come out of mountains as if liquefied from a frozen state. The resurrection wouldn't just come out about this way. The South Island turned to wood, waiting for the giant crew of Maui and his brothers. Balers and anchors turned back to what they were when they were strewn about the country by Kupe and his relations. The resurrection would happen in the blood of the men and women, the boys and girls who are blood relations, of the crews whose veins touch the veins, who touch the veins, of those who touch the veins, who touch the veins, who touch the veins, of the men and women from the time of Kupe and before. The resurrection will come out of their blood.
That's my ship right there.
Yeah. And years ago, we had kind of started this dialogue, Coco and I, around this idea of toto, blood.
Yeah.
Ua toto in Te Reo Māori is the vein.
Yeah.
And we were just riffing, and it was like,
riffing.
me too.
Me too. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Arteries, veins, and blood in Tongan is also Tota. And we had spiraled into this really great conversation around semantics and
Yes.
the ways in which, you know.
So that poem acted as like a total gateway to us talking about blood and toto, which led to us going, hey, pattern recognition, which led to us really going hard on semantic drift, which is kind of the kaupapa that we're going to really get into tonight. And I feel like when I think about ua toto, this is from Te Toa Takitini. It's, if you read the Māori dictionary, sometimes you'll see the little examples they give. They'll say TTT. It's from it's from that, Te Toa Takitini, and this is from the 1st of July, 1924. Kia hemo rāno te toto I roto I te tinana, kia whakakia au uawa toto I te ahi me te wairua, ka tahi anō koe ka atua, ka hoki atu ai, ki te aroaro o te mātua o ngā wairua katoa, which translates to, when the blood in the body is gone and your veins are filled with the smouldering fire in the spirit, then you will become a malignant spirit that will return to confront the parent and all the spirits. It's very, as usual, most things Nesian, very heavy metal.
Yeah.
Very chill. We have no chill, which you've probably realised by now. And this reminds me, Mush, you pretty much grew up on the waka.
Yeah.
That's a big part of your Pan-Pacific knowledge.
Yeah, beautiful reading. Beautiful reading. Just as, I kind of was like, it's, I think, because I've heard you read that poem before, but when you just read it now, it kind of just hurt. Like, I feel like my ears just kind of popped open when it talks about the museum, and quite literally, I'm at a museum every Saturday at the Maritime Museum, and that is where we go and we spend time with waka. But it's such an interesting, you literally feel like you're frozen in ancient time when you're on the waka, because you're in this museum, patrons are walking past and they're like taking photos of this waka, but you're on the waka. And so you're on this ancient vessel, but you yourself are also an ancient vessel. And then you have just people walking past and you literally feel like you're not even in this current timeline. You're in a completely different timeline. And what's really beautiful about the poem as well, how it talks about rebirth and blood. And one of the waka that we have relationship with, because waka, they're living, breathing entities. Shout out to Te Hoki Voiding Trust. Love y'all. One of the waka is called Haunui. But Haunui was actually first known as Va'atele. And Va'atele, they were a Samoan waka. And my auntie and Uncle Hotu, they worked on this waka. And then during the 2011 tsunami, Va'atele was wiped out. And then she was just cast aside. But then Uncle Hotu and auntie were like, no, let's actually alchemize this waka. And so the waka was then, they did work on the waka and then was then renamed as Haunui. And it's such a blessing, and even that, like the blood which is imbued in the waka, in terms of that, you know, the waka is a living entity, but also in the waka, the left hull is the feminine and the right hull is the masculine. And you need both in order to go anywhere. And there's a beautiful synastry between both, and it just reminds me just of how divine waka is. And in the same way that tangaloa is both male and female, that's the same way in which waka is both male and female. Also, what's also really key is that Haunui, she is, sorry, I'm so sorry, Haunui, he is. Va'atele was, I guess the energetics of Va'atele was mostly feminine, and then when they were renamed as Haunui, they then became Haunui, which is, I guess, rather more masculine in that sense. So they did transition, which is beautiful as a waka.
Period.
But then also in the same vein, holding both and all. On the waka as well, in the center, you have Modi stones.
Yeah.
And the Modi stones, for me, they spiritually anchor both sides of the double hull. And the Moody stones are imbued with knowledge of stories of talanoa. So every single person that's been on the waka, when you touch the Moody stones, you are literally imbuing your mana into these Moody stones. And so in that way, the blood, the lineage, it's infinite. It's infinite.
Yeah.
You know, we survive, we keep going. And so yes, and when we are like on that waka in the museum, and we're touching the Modi stones, and we're just in this beautiful space. And also I need to mention that the deck of the waka, we don't call it the deck, we call it the kaupapa.
Period.
It is the kaupapa of the waka. And so it is that, it's like you're literally like on a marae on the water.
Yeah.
And it is the vessel that connects all of us.
Yes.
All of us. We're all connected through this.
For those who were at the hikoi, you were walking along the Auckland Bridge, you would have looked down and seen the majestic image of waka in the harbour. That was there.
That was mushy.
Mushy was there. How did that feel in terms of what you're talking about?
I honestly felt like I was exactly doing what I was meant to be. But I think for me, I was like, I'm whawhawhine and I am holding this hoi. And I need the girls to know that it was a whawhawhine who held the hoi of that waka that day. In that hikoi. The girls need to know.
Exactly.
And for me, it was bigger than me. It was, and also it wasn't just that, but it was Pan-Pacific. It was oceanic.
Oceanic.
You know, and
Because that gave like so much strength to the
the
girls on the
girls,
bridge,
that's
you know.
it.
Everybody was like, yes. And that was you and the
that was us. That was the girls.
So we're kind of like giving the Tongan Samoa, Niuean, Māori kind of like atomic kitten, you know, the chopped trio Merepua. And this is what we kind of want to keep on, I guess, thinking about and talking about, which brings me to like she shot some bars just before we got in here about phonetic trees.
Oh, girl.
Which is like the phonetic language systems, like for us to think about Austronesian, Proto-Oceanic language-based stuff. You kind of just like, I was being a bit of a bimbo going, do you think it's all connected? And then she just drops this whole drop-down menu
Yeah. Incredible.
kind of thing. Do you care to share with the class?
You know what it is? Came from the Lapita people yonks ago. It was about like what, 1,600 BC to 500 BC, and then around that time migrated.
You know what it is.
From Southeast Asia, and then migrated through into Melanesia, into Polynesia, Micronesia, what have you. These are all very problematic terms, by the way, coined by people that we do not approve of.
No.
But you know,
You heard the disclaimer in the beginning.
You heard the disclaimer in the beginning, and you had to remember English is the kupu we got right now, and so this is where we're
we
at.
gotta do the best with
We
what we
gotta do
got.
the best with what we got. So, anyways, all of these are descendants of the Proto-Polynesian languages, and then from there we have Proto-Tongan, we have Proto-Tuvaluan, we have Proto-Tahitian, Proto-Rapa Nui, and Proto-Futunic. And from these kind of 5 trees, we have our family of languages here in the Pacific. I'll start off with Proto-Tongic because they decided, Tongans, you know, Tongans, they're quite, how shall I say, proud. And I guess everyone is in the Pacific, but kind of when Proto-Polynesian kind of splintered off into its many languages, the Tongan language had completely splintered off from nuclear Polynesian languages and exists kind of in its own tree. And currently there are 3 languages under that tree, and it's Tongan, Niuean, and the dialect that I spoke when I was doing my introduction, Niuafo'o. And then following that, we have the Proto-Tuvaluan languages, which are, let me pull this up. Tuvaluan, Nukuoro, which is in Micronesia, Kapingamarangi, which is also in Micronesia, Nukuria, which is in Papua New Guinea, Taku, which is in Papua New Guinea, Nukumanu, which is in Papua New Guinea, Ontong Java, which is in the Solomon Islands, Sikayana, which is in the Solomon Islands, and Bileni, which is in the Solomon Islands. And then we splinter off into the Samoan or Proto-Samoanic languages, and that's Samoan and Tokelauan. And then we split off then further into the Proto-Eastern Polynesian languages, which is Rapa Nui, or Easter Islands, and then we splinter off into the Proto-Central Eastern Polynesian languages, which is Marquesan. I don't know what the Marquesan people's, the indigenous name for their islands are, but there is a filmmaker from the Marquesas here. I don't know his name at the moment, but you guys will probably know him. There's
Emotes in
Mangareva.
the chat for Marquesian Indigenous names and filmmakers.
Yay. And then there's Mangareva, which is also in French Polynesian. And then we have Hawaiian under the Marquesan family. And then we have the Proto-Tahitian languages, which then splintered off into Tahitian, the Austral language, Rapaiti, Tuamotuan, and then it had splintered off again into the Greater Maori languages, which has 2 family trees, the Eastern Maori languages and the Western Maori languages. Western Maori languages include Te Reo Maori Aotearoa and Te Reo Maori, Te Reo Moriori. And Eastern Polynesian Maori has splintered off into Rarotongan, Rakahanga Manihiki, and Penryn. And then we split into Proto-Futunic languages, which is languages that were born out of Futuna and Uvea, which is northeast of Tonga. It's kind of in between the trifecta of Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, all of that stuff. We've got Eastern Uvean, Eastern Futunan. We've got Whanga Uvea from the west of Uvea. We've got Puka Puka, Anuta, which is in the Solomon Islands. We've got Renalese, which is in the Solomon Islands. We've got Tikopia, shout out, from the Solomon Islands. We've got Vaiakau, Saumako, which is again in the Solomon Islands. And then we've got Futuna Aniva, which is in Western Futuna. And then we've got Velefia, which is in Vanuatu. And then we've got Emai, which is another language in Vanuatu. And if you hear me say any of the islands in Melanesia, understand that during that time, there were really 3 big dynasties in the Pacific. It was Tu'ipurotu, our Fijian brothers and sisters, Tu'imanua, which comes from now American Samoa, but they were the 2nd big dynasty in the Pacific. And then the final dynasty in the Pacific was Tu'itanga. And their kind of colonial reach stretched all the way up to the edges of Micronesia and Melanesia. And so when I'm talking about kind of these Micronesian places or these Melanesian places like the Renalese languages or Tikopia and stuff, these were kind of the outliers of these great dynasties and kingdoms. Anyways.
What a download!
Yes, girl.
Jeez, girl.
That's incredible.
Give me a
Thank you.
chocolate.
Yeah, B.
That was more than
That was a
requesting a
transmission.
song. That was a
transmission.
transmission. So with all of these, the ancestral bases of these languages, these all travel across multiple migrations, relocations, and this is where we get into the linguistic phenomenon of semantic drift, which is how language or a word evolves over time via cultural, technological, social, and geographical shifts. And you'll see this in a contemporary sense with memes, how like words get like recontextualized and reupholstered until you've got Delulu and the Cambridge Dictionary. And you'd see it historically, you know, how the word gay went from meaning happy to meaning homosexual or something else.
Homosexual.
So it's like it's the journey a language takes to kind of morph into, because language is alive.
Yes.
Okay, so it kind of goes on to live and adapt like any technology and do what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And so we get into these words into the lexicon and the meaning shift, but also the linguistic cousins that we've all been referencing. They morph and emerge, and often the meaning that they all share remains the same. The energy of the language, the energy of the word survives, which is very common and across the Pacific, across Aotearoa and the Pacific, and all of these phonetic trees that Manu so beautifully broke down.
Wow.
So then you have your little waka 99, which is also your vaka 99.
Period.
Right?
That's it.
So we are broadcasting from Wheke Fortress, which is named by Tokerau Brown after his exhibition paying homage to Te Wheke Muturangi. The fortress concept was created because they wanted to imagine a space where people across the Pacific wouldn't have to make incessant space for colonial compromises when sharing their stories, their resources, creative expression. But there's also a huge homage to Te Wheke Muturangi. So I'ma just get into it. It's my time. The story of Kupe and his journey is generally accepted to have begun in his homeland of Raiatea or Hawaii, where his people encountered difficulties while fishing, and the source of their misfortune was revealed to be a giant octopus that would come to be known as Te Wheke o Muturangi, named because it belonged to Muturangi, a rival of Kupe, who had instructed his pet to prevent Kupe and his people from fishing. After confronting Muturangi to ask him to call off the wheke, but with no avail, Kupe vowed to track and kill the octopus in order to return prosperity to the people. So he's like, I'm going to kill this wheke no matter what. It's stressing everyone out. I'll do what I got to do. So Kupe sets out with his wife, family and crew in a great waka known as Matawhaurua, and in some versions he was joined by a second waka named Tāwhirirangi, which was captained by his friend Ngake or Ngahue. The pursuit of Te Wheke o Muturangi was long and difficult, and it took Kupe and his crew far from their homes, very, very far. Eventually, the great octopus was followed to an ocean which would come to be known as Raukawakawa, or Cook Strait. Here, Kupe and his people engaged the beast in a lengthy battle where it was eventually defeated and killed, and in the process, Aotearoa was discovered. So, this wheke apparently was like humongous, and of course I'm going to do a little bit of Naughty North propaganda and give the Ngāpuhi kind of version as well. In the far north, a slightly different version is told, and it is said that in pursuit of Te Wheke o Muturangi, that Kuramaru... Kuramarotini. Kupe's wife. The wife of Kupe noticed something on the horizon, and she is said to have stood within the great waka and cried out to her family, He Aotearoa, or a long white cloud. This is how the islands of Aotearoa gained their name. Following the clouds observed by Kuramarotini, the waka Matawhaurua was then guided by a light reflected from the mountain Ramaroa to a great harbour. Kupe was so overwhelmed by the beauty of the light that he named the harbour Te Puna o Te Amarama, or the spring of the world of the lights. And this is said to have been the very first landing of kupe, and after their extensive exploration of new lands, it was from this harbour that kupe also departed Aotearoa to return to his homeland. He declared, "E kore e hokianga mai," or I shall never return. And it was from this statement that it was called the Hokianga Harbour, and what it is known as today. Remember, he rereke ngā tangata, me and Huriana te aho kopeke, my two hoi sibling.
Period.
We get into it. They're like, I didn't come here on a boat, came here from the mist. So
Yeah, period.
it's different. We get into it in here, but that is the kōrero around the whike.
Around the whike.
And I know that you have a lot of pakiwaitara about the whike, the whike.
The fe'e, ole fe'e,
Ole
yes.
fe'e.
One of the gods of war
Yeah.
in Samoa, specifically for the Aana district in Samoa. So each district kind of had a deity, and each village had a deity kind of as well. And so in the district of Aana, ole fe'e was the deity. And it is said that a lot of worshippers of ole fe'e would wear kind of white turbans or kind of headdresses to kind of cover their heads, because ole fe'e would actually, you would say that you would be infected by the fe'e, meaning that you would have this migraine. Like the fe'e would go to the mind. So very like mercurial, like
Yes, you'd be
here.
going through
Yeah,
it.
you'd be going through it. And then the healer would actually stand outside of the whale with the spear chanting to try and get rid of the fe'e that was kind of taking control of the mind. What was really interesting about this kind of phenomena was that the migraines would only hit once the tide would go out, either out or in, one of those, but then that it was in tune with the tides. But yeah, love ole fe'e. So yeah, the district deity for Aana. For a little extra for the Atua district, since we're LA girls, our deity is Te Pōlengase, known as Jupiter, the Great Riddle.
Period.
The Great Riddle, because a lot of deities, they took the shape and form of things that were tangible and of animals and of the natural world, whereas Te Pōlengase was a star, and so it was kind of like, the greatest riddle to never be solved.
That's my shit right there. If you got a cool story relationship with the whike, fe'e, he aha te kupu, mo whike ki tonga.
It's whike and Tongan as
With the
well.
F.
With the F, it's heavy with the whike. We eat the whike in Tonga.
Oishi desu yo.
Mecha
Aroha mai oishi desu yo.
Girl, we eat the whike down. It's quite a delicacy. We kind of prepare it similarly to paua, where we would mash it up and then have it creamed with coconut cream and some like finely diced onions, and like it's quite magnifique. And
Save magnifique. I eat it with latamai. We have it on a potato chip.
Yep, it's quite delicious. We also have it like really like blanched and then like tossed in some more coconut oil and stuff. Outside of that, within our legends and stuff, we have like the really I'm a lot of Tongan kids, I kind of grow up with the story of like the octopus and the rat, and the octopus and like kind of the Tongan, I guess, like consciousness has always been like a really intelligent animal. And so like the story is always about how like a low life form like a rat can outmaneuver and trick a high life form like an octopus.
Right.
And
Class consciousness.
Class consciousness.
In the animal world.
also remember Tonga people was very much a feudal society. What can we do? We still have a monarch. Again, what can we do? But yeah, outside of that, whike, I was given a real big sign about whike coming into existence because prior to the creation of this space, I was working at AUT as a navigator in the uni prep program in like 2022. And at the time, I had been getting a bunch of tohu from a Maori atua, and it had never happened in my life, and it was spooky and it was terrifying. It was rehua. Rehua made it a point to
Into the chat.
enter the chat. And there were many things that kind of happened at this point. And before Feke Fortress was a thing, me and Coco would have fat yarns up inside her lounge. And
My tiny 2-bedroom apartment was the original Feke Fortress,
was the
by
original
the way.
Feke
Fortress. Everything up there.
Literally. But there it had started because you had started talking to me about Arohi Rohi, Pareo Rohi, the wife of Rehua, the Summer Mirage, and Kalomila, and that amazing poem about the
yes.
8 tentacles of Tamaki of is that
Yes.
Kalomila, if you're watching this, know that we love you.
Should I look it up?
Yes.
I'll look it up. I'll see if I can find it.
I'm also thinking of just the imagery of the feke in the triangle in
Yes.
Oceania.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just how
yeah.
It really is like a feke that just connects all of us.
That's it. And yeah, octopuses are really crazy. They got big brains.
But you had a
brains.
kōrero about Maui as well, because we were doing all of this stuff, and
Yeah.
you found out about Maui's mother, Taranga,
Taranga.
and
So,
Te Ao Māori.
Te Ao Māori, Maui Tiki Tiki is the son of Taranga. Taranga cuts off her hair and wraps him in it, and there's like a really, really beautiful story around that. And in Tonga, Maui Kisi Kisi is either the brother or the son of Maui Atalanga. Catch the semantic drift. Taranga, Atalanga. And then if we go up to Hawaii, it's Maui Ki'iki'i, and he's the son of Akalana. Again, catch the semantic drift. Remember, in Hawaiian, they don't got no T's. They don't got no R's. Like, and so it's like Akalana. And then we were talking downstairs about Maui and Samoa. And like, yeah.
Yeah, and Maui, there's the well-known kind of Maui as a deity or demigod, but then also I'm reading a thesis at the moment about Nawhanua, and there talks about Maui actually being the name or the title given to like a shaman.
Gag.
And so so there are all these kind of connections there. Even like in my own research of my own ngafa, so where I'm from in Salani, there is a title that's called Ta'ala, and in one of the talanoa I had with my late auntie is that she shared with me that Ta'ala actually whakapapas to the mountain Ka'ala
In Hawaii. Where ia? Ke ira.
Yeah.
I mean, in Ewa, there's this spot at like the northmost region of like the island, and it also like is named in reference to Hawaii. Like, and it's my understanding that like back in kind of the dynastic era of the Pacific, there were games.
Yes.
There were games that were held in specific islands, and everyone from every motu would set sail and javelin throw and liaison.
Yeah. One of the kind of patterns of my be'a is actually of the ngongo bird, and the ngongo bird that was used as a pigeon that the chiefs would try and catch, which was one of the games. And it talks about how it was, you were like almost like a pigeon master, and that was like one of the Pan-Pacific games.
Period.
I found the poem by Carlo Mila, which references the wheke, also one of the early wheke references that opened this whole kōrero up. It's called Octopus Auckland, 8 Suburbs. It's a classic. 1. In Mission Bay, the beaches shakes the imported grains off their backs and sigh with the tide that creeps up to the shops, wet with rain, hoping to snatch some recycled treasure from the shoreline like a shoplifter. 2. In Ponsonby, a smeared oil rainbow licks the gutter, glittering fat, reflecting colour. The rain swell from last night froths like a latte through the grated bars of the drain. The flat white crowd sips long blacks for breakfast. 4 and 40 four-wheel drives tread lightly on city slicker streets. 3. In Mangere Bridge, one bridge stands perfectly still, watching the other, social climbing with traffic. The old bridge has gone fishing, and Tongan boys prod stingrays, breathless, bloated and poached on the concrete. With friendly eyes, they greet us in Samoan, and the rocks rumble with sea. 4. In Grey Lynn, all is semi-detached and subdivided. Old ice cream villas sliced like cake into bite-sized flats, full of upwardly mobile ex-students, willing to settle for off-street parking. These old villas must remember back 30 years to the slaps of jandals and wooden floors, groaning under the weight of cross-legged choir practice, hallelujah, sounding the same in any language. 5. In Mangere, David Tua's parents' house grimaces and flexes muscle, like a castle in the legends of dutiful Samoan children. In the honour of their parents, it stands almost as big as the school next door, but is dwarfed by the church, where the huge mirrored arching window has been boarded over since the first time I saw it, just asking to be smashed, my partner explains. He grew up down the road. 6. In Unehunga. The monolith looms on the hill. We all see what is missing as keenly as what is left behind. The slopes of Cornwall Park, rolling gentle and green, a central city country estate, shared by joggers and dog walkers, scaring sheep, avoiding bulls. 7. In Hillsborough, there are 2 Indian dairies side by side. I buy lotto from one and everything else from the other. From a man whose smile is so tender and wide, it can wallop my heart while buying the paper. He gives me last week's magazines for free. I wonder at what point he made the choice that brought him here, sitting behind chocolate bars bordered by boxes of cigarettes, pornography just above his head. 8. In Mount Eden is the doctor I go to. She's beautiful and blonde, well dressed with hairy legs. Her herbal tea fills the air with raspberries and chamomile. Last week she was sick, and the lady doctor who saw me asked in perfect Earl Grey English where I came from originally. Not Auckland, I replied. Auckland, you feke, you octopus of a city, wrapping your tentacles around me, clinging to my skin, sticking to my surfaces, leaving welts and bites of place and location on my body. Auckland, you feke, ever-changing migrant colours, iridescent, trickster of a city.
Ooh.
Period.
Ooh.
Shout out to color. Actually,
You did your big one, girl!
Big one.
with all these poems, there's a concept in Tongan called like whakaaki mui, and it like is in reference to like the indirectness of how we speak. And
What is not said,
What
playing
is
as
not
much a
said,
part of the meaning as what is said.
that's it. Like, and the tenet of it is like the concept of poetry in Tongan with this like heliaki. And heliaki literally means what you leave behind, what you leave out. Like, and I'm thinking about kind of that modality of speaking around a point to accentuate a point.
Yes.
And like, how do you guys feel like it's kind of translated into the way that you utilize English?
Wow.
Wow. Oh.
I think when I'm in that mode, when I'm being kind of, very artful in what I'm trying to convey or depict. And it has to be a lot of the stuff we do in terms of, say, decolonial opportunities. You know, you have to kind of like layer. Yeah, you do have to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's it can get really Sufi. You know, you can really like have to choose like your metaphors, and especially if you want them to have that kind of almost, attractive weaponry element to them.
Yeah.
I definitely do that. I will definitely stack something so high
Yeah.
that it's very glaring what it is that I'm not saying. And I think that is kind of like one of the best things about language. It's kind of those real intentional atmospheric ways that we can leverage and point it and use it against those who believe it to be superior.
Yeah. Period.
Yeah, I feel very trickster with the English language, but it's interesting because it's my first language, but then on my journey in learning Angana Samoa, I've had to translate from English to Japanese, then from Japanese to Samoan in order to grasp my head around it. But I feel like I like to be quite trickster with the English language in a way in which because even if we go in semantic drift, like where a lot of the words kind of go back to, it's just so random.
Yes.
And so like Tulo like bastardized as well. So it's kind of like, oh wow, this language is kind of a joke anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have a gutter with the joke, but I also enjoy what I'm having a gutter about. Like it's quite tasty, but I feel like it's curated.
I think the semantic drift stuff is like, you know, when we're talking about Q theme, Multi-Motu mechanics, we're talking about the way we ricochet linguistically around all of these spaces and cultures, right? But also the way we kind of ricochet around everything to do with the spoken word. And it really is that kind of truth where one of the traits of white supremacy is worship of the written word.
Yes,
Worship of the written word. And the written word is truth.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can't kind of compete with the agility and the almost deviance of the living transmission of spoken language.
Spoken language.
It can completely take you somewhere you don't even necessarily want to go because it's coming from the manawa, you know?
And
It's
also,
coming
like,
from...
I feel like the written word is prioritized because, like, you know, I don't want to give Dune so much credit. I love you,
No
Frank
shout-outs
Herbert.
to Dune.
Anyways, that whole idea that they have in Dune in and around kind of the voice.
The voice.
And kind of tapping into a particular frequency or like a type of modality to influence
Yes.
people. And it's like, well, duh. Yeah. Duh.
Because the written word, what it does is it embalms a sentiment.
It does.
It completely like drenches it, freezes it, and gives you some kind of, it's like quite sociopathic in its
That's
intent.
it.
That it's like, this is how it is, this is the sentiment forever. And that's simply not
That's
true.
not
Language
true.
is always, you know, even this kōrero around
it's
how,
alive.
it's alive, it's evolving.
It's evolving, it's breathing.
It's breathing. And guys, we all came from Hawaii. And did you hear us introduce ourselves in the beginning of this? You hear how different our kōrero sounds, our leo sounds, our lea sounds. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it fun? Like, isn't that what you want?
Is this a good time? Remy, how's it going?
So I'm now going to put it back to our cast and I'll start asking the questions that y'all have sent through to us. Thank you so much for, again, just like yapping in the chat. Emotes in the chat for how cute our cast is. I know that's right.
Ia te pātai tuatahi. What is the first question that you think we should explore?
Yeah, let's go. So for our first question, we have, how would the girls define their current relationship to this motu?
First of all, I'm tangata whenua, so I am the whenua, I am the land. My relationship with it is that with myself. It's an extension of myself. So it's pretty hearty. It's pretty much, I have had a relationship with this whenua where I belong to it. No matter how far that tether gets, I have to always kind of come back, plug in, and helping the collective consciousness and healing regarding this whenua. It's part of my curriculum, it's part of who I am. In terms of my German, Samoan, drop-down menu, Tongan, Russian, but that's more suppressed kind of bloodline stuff. Yeah, I definitely am the granddaughter of migrants. You know, my grandfather came from Samoa when he was a teenager, and my grandmother, her and her sisters, came by way of Rarotonga. And so, yeah, it's the same kind of thing that I share with the girls. It's like the tensions of diaspora. It's the tensions of, organised religion's impact on our people, and that goes for my Māori side as well, a constant colonial conversation. Yeah, what about yous?
Yeah, how do I word it? I guess, like, as much as I feel like a relative, like, as a Tongan person to a Māori person, I guess it's also for me, like, always consciously being aware of being, like, a Pacific inheritor of, like, colonial debris, hubris, all those things. Like, and it's that thing that we're always talking about in here and trying to mitigate in here, where it's like, when you're in a Māori Pacifica space like Wheke Fortress, how is it that the prioritization stays central to Māori and how we sit in and around that, almost like a gava circle. Like, you sit in the center of the gava circle and we afi in and around in a circular motion kind of way. Like, and I think we're all figuring it out together.
The tauiwi stuff. I want to shout out to all of the Māori and Pacifica mixed bag girls. We really go through it, you know.
Shout out to you, girlies. Shout out to our girlie.
Shout out to me. Mush.
I love that imagery. I love that imagery of being around the cover circle, and I think my relationship with whenua is that I'm standing doing an aiuli, and I'm just supporting, and I am using the gifts and talents I've been blessed with to do the great work here
On this whenua.
And I actually feel very blessed to be born in this whenua and to be part of this diaspora. I think it's very spiritual, and I think that's where we all are able to see each other and be in a relationship with each other. But heavy on relationship, I think, for me.
My goal is that we get lots of diaspora girls who whakapapa Māori and Pacifica outside of Aotearoa as well, eventually. People can plug in to see the kind of discourse that we have that's very specific to this thoroughfare, because y'all know they love to bang us on the head with Manukau is the biggest Polynesian city in the world. It's like, I want to start seeing it in terms of the politics. I'd love to see that.
That's it.
Kia ora. What's our next question, Remy?
Hey everyone. So let's go into our second question. Our second question is, what media would you each recommend for someone who wants to start having more knowledge of our Indigenous cultures?
There's so many great writers, people to read. At the top of my head, I'm thinking like Ranginui Walker. I'm thinking...
Yeah, we've got a beautiful library here. If you know someone in the community that, you know, you want to come through and visit at one of our events, come through and we can show you the library. But, I mean, I'll also just say, are you a witch?
Yeah, truly.
If you're a witch, you know, you kind of get dreams, downloads, messages you didn't ask for, tohu, you know, people, ancestors giving you the plug. That's a very important methodology in my praxis.
Come on.
Oh, get
Come on.
I think that if you got that in your kete, that helps. Trust your puku.
That's it.
Don't feel that sometimes colonial resources are the key to your knowledge. Sometimes it's all around you, in front of you, inside you.
Ask your nannies. Ask your
Yes,
aunts.
ask your elders.
And yeah, if you're really in that pocket of not having kind of your whānau, family, whatever have you around you, what resources?
You read and read
I
and read.
read and read down. Yeah, I think I've had to, my reconnection with my culture has had to include mitigating just so much Christian debris.
Oh, girl.
And so I'm literally, and even in trying to approach my elders for knowledge, to ask them about knowledge, there's so much shame and very much like we do not talk about those times. Like, and so I've had to literally.
Verboten.
Forbidden.
Forbidden. Great resource if you're one of our Samoan fans, Whispers and Vanities.
Whispers and Vanities and Su'esu Manongi. Yeah. Incredible.
For the Tongan girlies, it's a really, really dense book. It's called The Tongan Traditional History Tale Whanua, a vernacular, ecology-centered, historic, cultural concept by Okositino Mahina.
So that's us for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for the hype train. Thanks for the chat and the awesome questions. Anything y'all want to say?
Kai.
Yeah, grateful.
Aku mau honga ia. Awhalahi atu.
Taitele lovers.
Ngā mihi nui. See you later.
Orators Anonymous was made with Pūtau Tautoko from Creative New Zealand, New Zealand On Air, and the RNZ Arts and Culture Podcast Co-Fund. The creative director is Coco Solid, the producer is Esther Lelua, the assistant producer is Mary Adios-san, the producer/Twitch producer is Remy Shavinke, the hosts are Fuima Ono Tuema Fuiva Falese Taua Mush Lesefo, Manu Vaya, and Coco Solid. Sound design, composition and editing, Tokero Teokotai Brown. Ngā mihi to strategic advisors Rosabelle Tan and Yana Tenahu Owen, and the RNZ podcast teams Justin Gregory. Follow and listen to Orators Anonymous wherever you get your podcasts.